What's up, folks? Welcome back to the stream. It's Wednesday. The Warhamster has come and graced us with some disgusting slop, chat. We've got some new preview articles for 11th edition, in addition to a glorious, glorious balance pass that is not very good, in my opinion. So that's what we're going to talk about today first, I guess. Look at all these changes. So I woke up and I was like, well, I guess it's time to talk about Astra Militarum. But I noticed all of these faction pack updates and I said, good. We have emergency patched the issues we are currently experiencing in the metagame. And why would I think that? Why would I consider the fact that a single unit comprising about 30 to 40% of the meta would be deserving of any sort of balance update? Of course not. That's silly. Why would I think that? You know, a unit that's typically taken in triplicate in several of the best armies in the game, that's fine. That's totally fine. But you know what is unacceptable, chat? Is Commissar Yarrick being kind of good. Not okay. We have to nip that shit in the bud. So, I don't know, chat. It's one of those days, I guess. We did see a couple of, like, sort of standard updates. The Red Terror has officially been included in the Tyranid faction pack. Let's fucking go. I don't think it... I assume its datasheet is unchanged. From the preview version. It sure looks like it is. So that's cool. I don't know. I'm excited about it. I was going to play with it, but then I didn't. And I don't know when that'll happen. So, you know, it'll probably be fine. There it is. Anyway, good stuff. Old Red Terror. But the one I was very interested in was Chaos Space Marines, of course. Now I saw that Chaos Space Marines had received an update, and I said, "Oh, awesome! We're gonna maybe do some updates to some of the data sheets that are currently ruining the game, or maybe we'll at least see." This is the height of naivete, chat. I'm about to expose to you. I said maybe at least I saw that there's an errata section. Maybe we'll at least see an update to the Masters of the Maelstrom that redefines how their keyword, their undivided keyword, actually works. That's a mechanical inconsistency, and we're not sure actually how it's meant to be run. Can you attach them to a non-undivided unit and grant them the undivided keyword? Currently, yes, but that does mean that you can mix keywords, mix mark keywords in Paxbound Zealots, which is very relevant. Nope, silly me. They made it so mutilators can't go in rhinos anymore. And that was the only change, so... I mean, that's good, I guess. I don't think we were that worried about the mutilators, if I'm going to level with you. Obviously, that was probably a mistake that they could go into transports and they just counted as normal infantry when doing so. But mutilators are mid. More like middlelators, am I right? At best. Not exactly the things that are currently destroying the game. But you know what is apparently currently destroying the game is fucking Guard. We did get the new Cadian Recon Squad in here, but look at these fucking erratas, chat. Holy shit. Commissar Yarrick got ripped a new one. A brand new one. So basically, it isn't like the changes are sort of whatever, I think, in most cases. Basically, they specify that you can't double up his reactive shoot ability and Overwatch, and they just made his reactive shoot ability be Overwatch. So he basically gives you a free Overwatch if you satisfy all the conditions. So that's good. So basically, like, you can only target something that has already acted in your opponent's movement phase, whether that's fire, Overwatch, or reactive moving. It either gives you a reactive move, or it gives you an Overwatch, or it gives you a surge move. Previously, it was like a reactive charge, and now it's just a surge move. So, I don't know. It's like a little different, but it's I think I was maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think that Yarrick's ability to duplicate orders feels like the more important part of the kit, in my opinion. The reactive stuff seemed very good in the cases where you couldn't play around it, which obviously could come up. And it's still good, right? A second Overwatch or a reactive move or whatever seems fine. But I don't know if it's like breaking the game wide open. But the ability to like issue just a tremendous number of orders in Grizzled Company or whatever, where you could snap to it out of phase, seemed incredibly strong to me. I don't know. Anyway, chat. We saw some changes, very minor changes to the Hippogriff AFV. Its las cannon was renamed, I guess, because they called it a heavy las cannon, but it was just a normal las cannon. So it wasn't the heavy one from the ordnance team, the field ordnance battery team that has the special las cannon profile. It one is just normal. Commissar Graves changed some stuff.
Adriong 6931 donated $5 through Super Chat. I can't wait for the epic crashout / angry rant / final stage of grief from Trevi during the Tyrannid faction focus tomorrow.
Well, I think that you overestimate my level of hope for Tyrannids, chat. I appreciate the super chat, though. I think I'm ready for the faction to be squatted. You know, I'm prepared. I got Harry Dan back there. He's hanging out, but he's ready to go into the dumpster. He's ready. He's like, it's my time. I've had a good run, but Tyranids are over now. There are some stuff that's good for Tyranids. I think we were talking about it yesterday on Twitch. I think that the new Battle Shock mechanics, unironically, very good for Tyranids. Because if you hit a good, I mean, it's going to make the faction more random. What a time to be alive. But it's random in a way that they don't have any, like, they don't need to have control over. But the fact that you have to re-Battle Shock to un-Battle Shock yourself is good for Synapse, because it means that you get less affected by that than other factions would be. And if you Battle Shock your opponent in your turn, or they Battle Shock them, whatever, with Shadow in the Warp, they could potentially be affected for multiple turns by that. So, I don't know. There's you win some, you lose some. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. There's also a change to Commissar Graves removed the command squad keyword from her leader list. I believe that Yarick does Yarick also do that? No, okay. Well, that's good. So this created an issue previously where, because you could have a Ogren bodyguard in your unit.
Adriong 6931 donated $2 through Super Chat. In before Battle Shock gets removed from the Factoon.
Like the Shadow in the Warp is no longer a mechanic? I mean, that's just a buff. If you switch Shadow in the Warp for, like, anything else, it's probably better. Something you have actual control over on the battlefield. But as the mechanics stand right now, Tyranids, like, they do get a little bit better if the Battle Shock thing changes through, for sure. I don't know. Anyway, Commissar Graves' brutal disciplinarian ability is changed to once per turn. I don't know what that was. That's the one where you can unbattle shock people. I don't know how often it was usable previously. Also, apparently, she didn't have the character keyword, which is very funny. I don't even know if I have a reference to the original version. So I maybe it was like once per round or something, or once per battle. But this is once per turn. I don't know. This was pretty good. You could just constantly unbattle shock people. It might be actually legitimately good. We'll see. But yeah, this command squad thing created this like weird sort of rules loophole where you could count your whole unit as bodyguards, which gave them the toughness characteristic of an Ogren. It was weird. It was kind of a convoluted like rules issue, and it was just because like you allowed her to embed into command squads, which could then embed as well. And so it basically allowed an embedded model to treat the remainder of the unit as the same unit as itself. It was dumb, but that's gone. Oh, it used to be once per phase? Oh, well, that is worse. Well, I guess, I don't know. Not the like most wildly relevant ability, but I guess we could nerf it. But yeah. So I'm interested. Like this whole thing. Some of this is bug fixing, right? Like this thing, it allows canon name or whatever, adding or removing character keyword. It's all very embarrassing. But this Commissar Yarick change is unironically, and I don't think it's reasonable to argue that this is not a balance change. So the fact that we're basically rewriting this guy's datasheet, right? His whole special ability has been almost entirely rewritten, which is, it's a lot, right? His at least the reactive portion of it, not necessarily the order granting portion. Oh, actually, no, they did nerf his order granting portion. I didn't realize that. At the beginning of the section here, it only affects the first order you issue in your command phase. Oh no, the Yarick's bad now, chat. I guess like maybe having a reactive move is good, but like I suppose that what you could do is like pulse the order and then replace it. So he's just like more efficient orders, but you don't get the thing where you can like reorder your whole army out of sequence. That's no longer usable. Oh, so you in fact must pulse the orders and then selectively reorder your units, because it has to be the first issue ordered in your command phase at all. Oh geez. So he basically he can go first and he can issue a bunch of orders. He's very efficient on orders, but you can't like do anything weird and janky to reorder your team and in order to replace existing orders with a new one. So he could like issue move, and then you could like the units that you don't need move on, you could replace them, I guess. But that does feel like, for assuming I think that he is still 150 points. Yeah. I don't know if this points value is worth the more limited amount of utility. But because I know it's going to be a comment, there are some bug fixing in this update, but this is unironically, or you can't argue, right, that this is a balance change here. So while we are balance changing a unit that has caused the win of one single grand tournament in the history of 10th edition Warhammer 40,000, what's interesting is that if we look at the unit that is currently destroying the game, it remains unchanged, both mechanically and in its points value. What the fuck? While we were doing a balance update, would it kill you to alter this model in any way? Probably not. But that's not what we get. So, get fucked, everyone, I guess. Enjoy another 6 weeks of being pinched by crabs until you die. In addition to that, Space Marines also got the shit end of the stick. Not in a way that we weren't expecting. I think everyone saw this coming from a million miles away. But the Armored Spearhead, has been dumpstered. Unfortunately, didn't really get a chance to see this detachment be good because it's just being killed by Defilers. So we never saw it actually do all the things that everyone was worried about it doing, because the top army in the game is just killing it. So, what are we doing here, guys? Come on. So huge balance changes to Armored Spear Tip. You can no longer do a move when you come out of strategic reserve, which is already kind of a questionable thing, I think, already, but it's good to make a note of that. You can also no longer move when you disembark transports with fly. Basically, excluding fly has been added to like every single one of these effects, so you can't do them on Storm Ravens at all. The heavy transport keyword is only applied to transports without fly. Fair enough. Tip of the spear, which is the one that gave your entire transport 9-inch scout, now becomes a 6-inch scout. Still good, to be fair, but just not like quite as silly. the machine rat stratagem, which you used to be able to use to move land raiders around when they were destroyed or heavy transports, now is ramshackle. So when you roll a 6, for deadly demise, you can move it. What's weird is that it's like when you roll a 6 for deadly demise, you move it before the deadly demise ability is resolved. But rolling the 6 is the resolution of the deadly demise ability. I think we all know what they mean here, which is that before you deal mortal wounds from its deadly demise. But it's like silly that it's, I don't know, that it has this like 2-step timing. I don't know, it's dumb. But the thing was that when you destroyed a transport, you could just move them, disembark, move the unit that disembarked from it, and then blow it up. And obviously, like, that was a little silly. I think the ability to basically just take a transport that was destroyed and then move it and put 6 OC under your like objective or whatever in the middle of your turn, and then move that unit to get extra threat range. That definitely made this detachment very difficult to play against. And now it's just like it being ramshackle. I don't know. It's much less powerful, but also, in my opinion, kind of boring and lame. We've made it very clear my absolute distaste for the deadly demise ability at all, and adding additional rules baggage to deadly demise is not exactly where I think we should be going with this. So still a lot of good stuff in this detachment for sure. I like that there's like a clarification here. The Storm Raven interactions definitely felt a little bit too strong, because the idea is that I think it's supposed to be a Land Raider focused detachment, and this stratagem was like obviously silly, like super silly. So I still think that the Armor Spirit's probably okay, but it's funny again to have a detachment that was released to a lot of fanfare but no actual results. Every single like undefeated Ultramar list is like Blade of Ultramar or the weird Librarius Conclave like brew since this released, and we're just reaming it immediately. Come on, guys, what are we doing? If the idea is that we're gonna let things stew for a while, then, you know, why are we pre-nerfing this at the same time that events are reporting that like 75% of players are bringing defilers? Come on, dude. I don't know, man. We need more photos of tables full of crabs for sure. Fucking every event that like gets all their defilers in one place is doing the Lord's work. And also all the events that I know that like Away Games started doing this, where they would like do faction breakdowns of their events, and then they would also just put a section for defilers. And it was always like, you know, here's 90 players and 58 defilers, and you're like, cool, man. Art of War called it busted. Yeah, okay. Sure. I mean, it probably was, right? Like, it was fast and it like delivered units, but like we literally never saw it. Well, at the same time, we are currently being fucking destroyed by a different unit, and while we're going and doing faction, balance passes, we don't change that unit. Come on. Like, Jesus. Anyway, rant over. That's what I have to say about that, chat. I think it's silly, and I don't like it. Let's talk about some Astra Militarum, shall we? I think that's yeah. We gotta to run through over here. I hope that the oh, chat. You know, I just realized. So somebody, I guess this is so funny. I guess they posted the faction focus earlier, and I didn't think it was real because it came from this YouTube channel. I did not know, give them a sub, that Warhammer 40k had its own YouTube channel. That's actually wild. I thought it was just all at the official Warhammer channel. But I guess it does. Oh, I guess it's only a month old. All right. Well, you know what? Fair enough, chat. And so I thought this was like somebody cosplaying as an official channel. That's so funny. But they did post. I guess this like actually accidentally posted yesterday. Because I saw somebody posting about it. It's very funny. All right, chat. Let me fix my viewer here because it's all fucked. And then we will talk about Astra Militarum. I sure hope I don't have to watch this whole video again in order to get all of the information. So there's a new detachment, Abhuman Auxiliaries. So this is new content, and I guess the open question is whether or not this will be replacing existing content, or an addition to existing content, or an update to existing content. I don't know. I imagine that the core mechanics of the faction are not changing, but we shall see. The detachment rule for the Abhuman detachment is that Bulgrin, Ogre, and Rattling Swans gain Abhuman. Friendly Commissar units can issue Take Aim and issue orders to Abhuman units. So they can already issue Duty and Honor and Fixed Band-Aids. So we get most of the gamut of buffs for Ogren units, all the combat buffs anyway. We don't get extra movement though, which is important. The detachment is the Abhuman tag and cannot be taken with another Abhuman detachment. But interestingly, the commissars don't join Abhumans. So I guess the idea is that like what we could do is we could attach commissars to like Vox units and then issue orders. I guess you could also take like Graves. Graves can issue orders to Bulgren and stuff, which is like certainly something. Solid Wall Bulgren Shields, now an even more terrifying prospect. Rattlings, 0 on enemy commanders with Take Aim. You can take the enhancement Exemplar of Duty to get a 4+ Feel No Pain. That's like a 4-wound character, right? Or they have 3? I hope they have 4, chat. They have 3 wounds. Okay. Now we get a 4+ Feel No Pain and not a 3-wound character. So they become like kind of a normal character now. They're basically 5 wounds at that point. What a time to be alive. Okay. Fair enough, I guess. Rattlings get a stratagem for 1 command point. They can shoot and remain hidden. Neat. That's fun, I guess. I don't know if we're expecting a lot of damage out of Rattlings, but at least you can take aim to them so they hit on 2s. That's kind of fun. Looks like Bridgehead Strike's getting a new thing, for sure. Commissar can also order normal units with aim in that detachment. I guess that's true. But you can't order the 2 at the same time, right? I guess that does make Graves like significantly better. But they are limited to 1 order, so it's still sort of limited use case. Like you still need, if you wanted to like take a bunch of stuff and like issue a bunch of orders with your commissars, you would still need a lot of commissars. Even taking the multi-order commissars like Yarek, you need to. He can only issue 1 order to Abhumans. Also, real talk, assuming this is the final wording, this doesn't have like a timing on it. So you can issue 1 order to a friendly Abhuman unit, but that's like once per game. So like if I issue that order, can I issue another one later in the game? Probably not, right? It doesn't say like in your command phase or once per round you can issue an order to an Abhuman unit. It just says you can issue 1 order. So like honestly, this doesn't seem very good to on the level. But maybe it's okay. Anyway. It doesn't say once per game either. But it says but it says once. Like I don't think it needs a once per game rider if it says 1 order. As soon as if I issue 1 order on battle round 1, and then on the next battle round I issue another order, I have issued 2 orders, right? It feels like that might need a day 1 update. I don't know, chits. It is what it is. Bridgehead Strike. It looks like we have some updates. For friendly, Militarum Tempestus Officer model is your Warlord. Tempestus Silence gain battle line and +1 OC. Basically what I have currently. When a Militarum Tempestus unit is selected to shoot, if it was set up this turn, it gets +1 to hit. I love that. That's pretty good. Especially because they don't really, like, It's plus one to hit rolls, which means it does in cases where they shoot into cover, it stacks with take aim, right? Because you can give it +2. The take aim's at +1 ballistic skill, so you're +1/+1 either way. You ignore cover and get the +1, so you still hit on 2s shooting into cover, which is fucking sick. Or you counteract cover. I shouldn't say ignore cover. You counteract cover. So that actually seems great. Plus, you most likely get wound rerolls. You can take a priority drop a beacon, which allows you to deep strike in turn 1. Fuck it, okay. That's pretty good. That might honestly just be good, even if the unit doesn't do anything, right? Because even if you just take the Tempestus command squad, which should deep strike innately, and then you just drop it turn 1 to do like utility stuff, that might even be helpful by itself. But bottom of 1, you can also use them to drop in and kill utility units and stuff. That does seem pretty good. Firing hot makes a return. Las carbines, hotshot las guns, hotshot las pistols, hotshot marksman rifles, volley guns, sentry volley guns get +1 strength and AP targeting enemies within 12. It costs 2 command points though. I hope that's a typo. Does that really cost 2 CP for +1 strength? That seems bad. I mean, AP is good, I guess, especially in the universe where cover doesn't add to your AP and you're probably hitting on 2s anyway. But we're going to pay 2 CP for +1 AP on 1 unit? It doesn't even, like, duplicate itself? That's got to be a typo, right, chat? Same cost as current firing hot? Is it the cost that it was on release? I guess it is just the same stratagem as it is currently. But that was changed, right? Because at one point it was 1. Am I crazy about that? Yeah. Yikes. All right. It's an interesting one to show off in your hype article. Hey guys, check this out. You have a stratagem that's very expensive and is like, I guess, a fine buff, but this costs a lot. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Designated targets is the detachment for the designation force detachment. I don't know why this sounds funny to me, but it feels like I don't know. It feels like a 12-year-old made it. Oh, what do? They designate targets for people. What are we going to call them? The recon team? The forward operators? No. Like the spotter group? No, it's a designation force. Okay. It looks like this has a very similar ability to the Phobos one. In your shooting phase, you can select a visible enemy unit within 12. Enemy unit is designated, which gives you +3 inches of detection range. The detection range thing is weird because it gives the enemy extra detection range, which is a buff for you. It feels like it should give you extra detection range, but I guess not. It has the recon tag. Cannot be taken with another recon detachment. Okay. You can give scout sentinels infiltrate. That's actually probably pretty sweet, especially if you get like 2 individuals because you can split those ones, right? Sump smog screen is a stratagem. What are these names? The start of your opponent's shooting phase, an Astra Militarum infantry unit. When attack targets your unit or the unit is not fully visible from the attacking model because of one or more models in your unit, the target has the benefit of cover against the attack. Okay, so this is very recon element coded. This is very similar to the distraction stratagem, courageous distraction or whatever it is, because it grants -1 to hit to enemies if they can target. Essentially, if the unit uses stratagem as the closest. What's weird is that it requires like full visibility. It checks. If it checks visibility based on the models in your units, which feels bizarre to me. But I guess I understand why it works that way. But it does mean that, like, if you're a knight, I don't think you ever get affected by this. Because then you just shoot over the intervening unit. Unless the line of sight rules change, which I fucking hope they do. I think it would be neat if it was like you draw lines from the bases, and if the lines cross over the bases of the guys that are dropping smoke bombs, then that works. That's much cleaner, I think, than a true line of sight measurement, where a lot of units in the game would actually not be affected by this at all. But either way, this is a very uninspiring thing. A very uninspiring faction focus, chat. I'm gonna level with you. I guess we can watch the video. Is the video very long? No, it's not very long. Nice.
Hello and welcome to another
the video is also apparently muted. No? Am I muted?
Faction focus. I am joined by Adam Camilleri, graduate of the Scholar Progenium, and today we are talking about the Astra Militarum. Adam, thanks for joining us.
My absolute pleasure and honor to be here. We're talking about one of my favorite factions, the Astra Militarum.
I kind of think maybe what we should do, chat, is like have this video play, and then we go through the detachments that they cover in the video while they play, while we watch the video. I think for the next one, that's probably what we'll do.
Objectives are placed on the table now, and then managing the hidden ability is going to be really key, I think, to a lot of Astra Militarum's success moving forward into the edition.
And what kind of opportunities do you think they've got for victory and interesting plays?
Oh, everything. They can do it all. Astra Militarum has one of the most robust miniature ranges. People out there who have large, going to make them so much more of a supported piece for the Astra Militarum players out there, in addition to one of the stratagems when we get to that in this detachment as well. I think actually just completely changes the game for Rattlings.
Okay, well, let's dive into the stratagems first then. So first off, there's a stratagem called Low Profile, and this interacts with the new Hidden rule, and it works on Rattlings. How does it work?
Straight up, stone cold, one command point, you will remain hidden after shooting with the Savvy General. Of course,
unable to be fired back upon.
Exactly right. Take advantage of plunging fire as well. All the changes there. That is going to be so much to unpack. It's really exciting.
There's changes to plunging fire. Oh yeah, they talked about that.
Should become a mainstay in a lot of people's lists.
They talked about those. I remember that now.
Just like being able to shoot, deal damage to your opponent, and then not be dealt damage back while possibly scoring points and doing so many other interactions into the game, holding field. I think it's going to be fantastic. We have one other strategy.
Let's have a look. So this is stirred to action, and this obviously one of them.
Here's an interesting question, chat. Because Rattlings shoot and Scarper, I'm curious about the actual wording of Hidden. Because I think in a lot of cases, the Rattlings break cover to move forward and shoot, and then move back into cover. And the question would be like, is Hidden just require that you are in cover, or does it require a certain timing at which you're in cover? It was something I was considering. I don't know if that makes a huge difference there, but if the idea is that we can move around very quickly and shoot our guns and also remain hidden, I don't know, could throw a wrench in the works, I guess, or require some very specific like positional play.
Low Profile works on Rattlings. This one very much for the Bulgrins and Ogrins in the army. What does this one do?
So it's a surge move. One command point when you have been targeted in your opponent's shooting phase. Those named units, the Bulgrin and the Ogrin squads, will get a D6 surge move.
Well, that's pretty good.
Moves, how they've worked for many different other armies.
Surge moves on Bulgrin, strong.
Left, and in this case, adding this surge move to a unit that's never had any equivalent like this is really going to mix things up. And there's so many other computations you can go into. Things like 2-inch engagement range.
It's a little damning that...
really quite deep.
This like Ogrin detachment does feel like the most exciting one out of the group here. Even though I don't know if it's like that exciting.
Units in the game that had a thing that was like Surge. Surge is now the same rule for every army, basically. So when you're targeted, we take some damage. You get to move, and in this case, it's D6 inches forward, and you can use this to go into combat.
Exactly right. It's something your opponent has to play around and always have to have at the forefront of their mind. Does this unit have this ability? Well, technically, these units have never had this ability, and now they have it now exclusively in this detachment. So when you take this, your opponent just has to add things onto that to take into account generalship-wise, and it's always a good place to be.
Great. Let's look at the...
Sorry, he talked about surge moves momentarily there.
Exactly right. It's something...
Now... Yeah. So, and Surge is a rule that is now a universal rule. So previously there was lots of things, units.
Do you think he changes his shirt between takes here, between recordings, or do you think that they recorded these on different days? I bet he changes his shirt based on the faction. I think it's I bet like Adam's sitting there for like 10 minutes in between each recording and being like, oh my god, and then this guy's got to like run off to the bathroom and then change his shirt every time because he's like, guys, I got to put my green shirt on for Astra Militarum.
In the game that had a thing that was like Surge. Surge is now the same rule for every army, basically. So when you're targeted, we take some damage, you get to move, and in this case, it's D6 inches forward, and you can use this to go into combat.
Exactly right. It's something your opponent has to play around and always have to have the
So I don't know if I'm like reading into it there, but it does sound a little bit like Surge Move has less restrictions on it. It did say forward, so I do wonder if it's like a similar rider to how it currently works. But in the current incarnation, you can surge into melee with the thing that's the closest thing to you. And I would be interested to see if it remains that way, or if it becomes a little bit more wide open with the. Like, just the ability to enter engagement using surge moves. That'd be
round.
Curious.
They're going to become battle line, which lets you take more units of them, in addition to getting plus
bridgehead,
one objective control, or plus one OC. Now, this is going to let you build around that portion, that identity of the Astra Militarum, and let you invest in there as well. In addition to that, of course, when you arrive on the table, when you shoot with your Militarum Tempestus units, you will get +1 to hit in addition.
That's cool. I mean, let's have a look at some of the
cool.
enhancements and stratagems. There is an enhancement for this faction, which is called Militarum Tempestus Officer can take it. It's called Priority Drop Beacon, and it interacts in a cool way with their detachment ability.
Absolutely. You get to drop on turn 1. You get to arrive. You get to do an ingress move from turn 1 onwards. You are not restricted, arriving on turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, etc. From the first turn, you can start having impact on the game state. And I think it's a brilliant thing. Something Militarum Tempestus players and Astra Militarum players will be familiar with, and I'm so
good stuff. I think what
one of the stratagems, which
is play the video here. And then we'll just listen to it in the background. Do we need to watch the video? Like having it just play in the background feels like it's helpful.
Now this is
I'm
on my way
for this faction, which is called Militarum Tempestus.
But then we can pull up the detachment abilities.
Priority Drop Beacon, and it interacts in a cool way with their detachment ability.
Absolutely. You get to drop on to
immediately do some damage early on, and that gets even scarier when you combine it with one of the stratagems, which is firing hot. How does that work?
So this is 2 command points. You will pay a premium for this. It's probably for the best, but you will get +1 strength and AP.
So your unit
dropping in
for
the best.
+1 to hit, +1 strength, +1 AP on the first turn.
If
potentially
this worked,
eliminating
no, it's not first turn. Unless I guess if you have Lord Solar. If you are Lord Solar, we could burn all of our command points to use the turn 1. Otherwise, you can't do it because it's too expensive. Or if you have Ursula Creed, I guess, right? Because they're regiment. So, but here's the thing. This might be more palatable if it affected all your guns, but the fact that it only affects hotshot weapons is so limited, right? I don't know, man.
A vital enemy unit before the game's even started, really.
Absolutely. And when you think you're getting +1 to hit that target, 3 interactions of the dice rolls, which I think is some of the strongest things you could ever do in the Great Game of 40k.
They might get killed the next turn, though. That's the only downside, I suppose.
You're playing the guard. You're in for a dime, in for a dozen.
So let's have a look at the last detachment. This is Designation Force, and this is a detachment that interacts with Sentinels and with Astra Militarum Infantry.
Yes, specifically Smoke Infantry. Now, what this is going to do, this is actually an ability...
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even grok that it does require the smoke keyword. Hopefully that's a lot of stuff. I know, Inky. Isn't that wild? It's like looking at smoke units. I hope that that becomes a lot of units. I don't know. I assume that the new guys have it. I believe that they do. The new recon squad. I guess we can double check. I know that they have stealth baked in, I believe. They have stealth baked in, and they do have the smoke keyword, so they do get affected by this this whole effect. So there you go. Good to know, I guess.
Of course, if you've read some of our other faction focuses, you're going to see a lot of interactions with detection range. Now, detection range is how you can shoot targets that are hidden. If your unit is hidden, your detection range will impact the distance upon which you can interact with them in the shooting phase. So this gives +3 inch to your detection range when essentially the scout sentinels or infantry units with smoke essentially throw a flare.
Yep.
And they're going to light up that unit, and you're going to be able to shoot them for 3 inches closer.
And this is quite significant for the Astra Militarum, because most of your units don't want to be anywhere near the enemy, right? You want to be shooting them from a nice, safe distance. So you send your light infantry, your scout sentinels up, you mark the target effectively, and then your Lehman Russes and heavy weapon teams and things can light them up from the safety of across the board.
Exactly right. Gun has been a tenet of the Astra Militarum for as long as the Emperor has called it its hammer. And in this version, being able to bring those guns to bear whilst staying further away from danger is going to be one of the, I suppose, the big to and fro battles for the Astra Militarum General, trying to stay outside of minimum safe distance, if you wanted to use the term, whilst also being able to impact, your opponent's units on objectives and things of that nature, and also not being charged, etc., etc.
Yep.
Things like surge moves. You always want to stay a little bit further away with your.
Well, also, I think just like being able to target enemies to begin with, like this affecting, are your Rogaldorns and your Lehman Russes, which allows them to interact with units that are hiding in midboard, is helpful. I think for armies that are like this, that are going to basically put all of their eggs, or, in most builds, into the gun basket, I think having access to sub-detachments like this that can counteract hidden targets is probably going to be big. I don't know necessarily if we care that much about, like, the spacing as much as we care about the ability to actually target it all. Yeah. Yeah, +3 inches of range, firing for 1,000,000 miles away.
Hit us if you can, and this is just one beautiful way to do it. I like this one because it brings a lot of the bread and butter units of the Astra Militarum into the fort and gives them something very impactful to do turn by turn to assist.
Yeah, those infantry become very important all of a sudden. There's some other kind of enhancements in there and stratagems that make that work even better as well. So one of your enhancements, long range scout, effectively gives one of your sentinels units infiltrate.
This is a massive. They might not look like it on face value, but I
do like this enhancement.
So
quite
scout
a bit.
sentinels, of
I think
course,
this is going to be
scout. Now,
pretty
what
neat.
happens when you only have units that scout, but your opponent has units that infiltrate, and your opponents know how key it is for you to, use your detection range on their units that are staging on objectives or in aggressive positions, and you want to be able to interact with them, but you can't scout because your opponent has infiltrated to block off your scout move. Well, what if you had infiltrate as well, and you block off theirs, and all of a sudden you flip the tempo of that interaction, and then you get to start using your rules before they do.
So all of a sudden that scout sentinel is not only allowing you to push their infiltrators back, it's also able to use the detachment rule to mark enemy targets, so you can start shooting them with your big guns early on.
Like when you.
Well, it's also, most importantly, going to be able to infiltrate forward and then scout backwards, which is obviously huge. Because you can forward operate and area denial to infiltrate to enemy infiltrators, and then pull your unit back out of line of sight if you go second. Assuming that dynamic works as it does in 10th edition, obviously, which we don't 100% know. It could change where the first player scouts first and all that stuff, but I imagine that it's very similar, and they are talking about it. The infiltrators area denying themselves out, so I assume that a lot of that stuff remains similar. Non-character enhancement. Yeah, they talked about this mechanic. It's a new mechanic. They talked extensively about it in the army construction articles, but basically upgrades are a new style of enhancement that I believe are duplicatable. I think you can apply upgrades multiple times. I think it's up to 2 units can take the same upgrade if I remember correctly, and that eats 1 enhancement slot. But they affect non-character units. You can already see elves and Tau having +6 detection. Yeah. I would be shocked if there was not a Farseer equivalent detachment that does detection range stuff, and a Pathfinder one for sure. But I think Tau having access to it is going to be big. I know that some of these effects that we're talking about, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the exact verbiage of the hidden mechanic is, or whether or not they've shown that off. But I know that like the verbiage that they've used for lone operative means that if you're not within range to target them, you can't draw a line of sight to them at all, which means that the being able to improve detection allows Tau, for example, to spot things, whereas they normally wouldn't be able to. So having extended detection range for them is going to be huge. Whenever we get to see
unpack the value that one single scout sentinel can be doing for your army. It's unlocking a bunch of your other scouting units by making sure you hold space in the infiltration step. Then your units get to scout, and also that scout sentinel still has the same datasheet ability where it gives rerolls to other units after it targets them, and then also is going to be targeting them with the signal flare ability from here, means that you get to interact with them full stop.
Very useful little sentinel.
Incredibly useful, incredibly powerful.
Yeah,
and then last up we have a stratagem for this force, which is Sump Smog Screen. So this is an ability that effectively allows Astra Militarum infantry to add to the survivability of other units.
Indeed. So this is going to be giving benefits of cover to units behind this unit of Astra Militarum infantry. For one command point, they're essentially going to give anything that isn't fully visible because of the unit that you've used this ability on, the benefits of cover. So, which is now -1 to hit. Previously, it would have been +1 to their saving throw if applicable, but now -1 to hit always comes into account. It's not if I'm shooting with AP 0 unit.
Yeah, also important to note, this also affects the unit using the stratagem, right? So worst case scenario, you're going to smokescreen yourself, and assuming that I think we've seen that smokescreen is very similar. You can wombo combo it with smokescreen, right? You can't put 2 of them on the same unit anymore, right? Because you can't stack stratagems. But what you can do is have one unit some smog, and then one unit use the regular smoke stratagem. So you can kind of like spam -1 to be hit. Now, like I said before, I think the fully visible to the attacking model because of a model of this unit is a little problematic potentially based on the army you're playing against, because some armies literally don't care about that at all. Assuming Atlanticite works the same way that it does currently.
The +1 save didn't really matter in a lot of cases, whereas -1 to hit is always impactful, and so therefore I think this is a pretty strong ability.
And if you think about the way this army is going to work as well, it's encouraging you to push forward a line of sort of scouting infantry in front of your tanks, and now that infantry can also make the tanks behind it even more survivable, so it combines really nicely with the other rules.
It is so beautifully homogenous and working together.
It's like we planned the whole thing.
It's almost like we planned this out, yeah. It's almost like the Guard actually do have a plan.
Nice. Well, Adam, thank you very much.
Somebody said that they had talked about reserve rules. Did I miss that?
They're quite deep how this
is forward, and you can use this to go into combat.
Exactly right.
Enhancement quickly for this army. Head strike. So this is a detachment really for the scions, the elite infantry of your army. Tell us about this.
Exactly right. I just graduated. I'm on my way to being part of my own bridgehead strike at the moment. So this is going to allow scions to become a portion of your army you get to build around. They're going to become battle line, which lets you take more units of them, in addition to getting +1 objective control or +1 OC. Now, this is going to let you build around that portion, that identity of the Astra Militarum, and let you invest in there as well. In addition to that, of course, when you arrive on the table, when you shoot with your Militarum Tempestus units, you will get +1 to hit in addition.
That's cool. I mean, let's have a look at some of the enhancements and stratagems.
What's interesting is that this also affects... this doesn't require ingress move. You to perform an ingress move. It just requires you to be set up on the table. So it also works when you disembark a Torox or a Torox Prime. So there's potentially some cases if we could apply like multiple effects, critical effects. Excuse me, Cap. And you can get like a Tempestus Prime against sustained hits, and you could probably combat that with some other stuff. And you can fish really well at that point, because at that point, even shooting it to cover the hit on 2s with reroll 1s. Or full rerolls, right, based on the Torox you're shooting at, and then they get wound rerolls also. So things like the Primaris Psyker, because that gets affected by this, because this just cares about Tempestus units, assuming that the Primaris guys are going to work the same way that they do currently. Can like basically go all in, right? Sustained hits, full rerolls, hit and wound, devastating wounds. I don't know. There's something there. Seems pretty good.
For this faction, which is called Militarum Tempestus Officer can take it. It's called Priority Drop Beacon, and it interacts in a cool way with their detachment ability.
Absolutely. You get to drop on turn 1. You get to arrive. You get to do an ingress move on from turn 1 on. It's a brilliant thing. Something Militarum Tempestus players and Astra Militarum players will be familiar with, and I'm so happy it's made its way into this version as well.
So you can drop in a unit with your hotshot las guns, your melter gun, plasma gun, immediately do some damage early on, and that gets even scarier when you combine it with one of the stratagems.
But you will get +1 strength and AP.
+1 AP
I'm
on the
scrolling a
first
little bit
turn,
here.
potentially eliminating of the game's even started, really.
Absolutely. And when you think about what that can be in the tail of the game, you're arriving, earlier, if you wish, of course, taking the enhancement, but even if you're not, you're arriving on turn 2 onwards, you're shooting at a target, you're getting +1 to hit that target. If you are shooting at a target of where your strength profiles are appropriate, you could be getting +1 to wound to your effective dice rolls, and then you're affecting their save rolls as well. It's impacting all 3 interactions of the dice rolls, which I think is some of the strongest things you could ever do in the great game of 40k.
They might get killed the next turn, though. That's the only downside, I suppose.
You're playing the guard. You're in.
So maybe I missed the chat. I didn't hear them talk about reserves being able to stay longer than Battle Round 3, but maybe I just missed the section where they cover that. I don't think I'm gonna waste all of our time scrolling through the video individually though. But that's basically where we're at, I think. This new stuff for Militarum, it seems fine, I guess. It's weird because in comparison to previous edition swaps, it feels to me like because a lot of these compositions are meant to be, or these mechanics are meant to be stacked together, they are individually less powerful than a full detachment in a 9th or 10th edition. So it's funny because it feels like it represents a reduction in power level, but I don't think that's actually the case. It feels like it feels strange, I guess, is to sort of close out my thought, because like a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is like, okay, well, I guess that's a thing you could do. And when you compare it to stuff that you do these like right now, it feels kind of mediocre, right? Even this one's like, +1 to hit when Tempestus unit set up on the battlefield, and you're like, all right, well, if we compare that to like Combined Regiment, I'm like lethal hits army wide, or Grizzled Grizzled Company, which is like +1 order army wide and reroll once to hit. And it's like, if this feels worse, but with the idea that this is 1/3 of your detachment ability, it actually feels better. But so it's like weird because it's hard. It feels harder to get excited about these releases than it should be, I guess, is what's up. I think it's good that strats are toned down a little bit. Maybe the problem is like if you tone them down too far, then they just become irrelevant, and the game becomes like you're like back to like old Hammer 40k, where you're just like, I'll compare my stats to your stats, and we'll just like be very, we'll be, one of us will win, I guess. So you're basically like you're kicking the can down the road a little bit. If you're like, well, the strats can be very unbalanced, and you're like, yeah, but strats are a way that we can counteract like baseline profiles, and if you remove stratagems, all of the baseline profiles are just entirely what you're basing your damage out of. We'll see. Anyway, chat, I think that's gonna be it for me today. I am gonna hop off. I might be live on Twitch later. I'm trying to plan a game with from Black Crusade Online, but there's like a non-zero chance that I just fade it because I'm tired, and it's, I don't know, it's 10th edition, like whatever. But thanks everyone for watching. It sounds like we'll have Tyranids tomorrow, and so we'll definitely talk about what's going on over there tomorrow morning. So I'll see you all tomorrow for more preview article stuff. Thanks for hanging out with me for preview season, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers, everybody.